Hi, welcome to this week's video. This week we're going to look at some basic 12-bar blues improvisation techniques. So this week's video is aimed at absolute beginners who have never looked at any kind of improvising before. I'm going to do some really basic exercises that can start to help you understand the principles of improvisation. So we're going to use this chord chart, which is a 12-bar blues. We're going to start in the key of E, but the whole idea of these exercises is to cycle through every single key and become familiar with the 12-bar blues. So this version of the blues is the chords number 1, number 4, 1, 5, 4, 1. Okay, so that's the variation of the blues that we're doing today. So exercise number 1 is the absolute basics of understanding chords and chord sequences, and as a bass player, what is the things that you should be playing. So the strongest note of a chord is the root note or the tonic, and that just means it's the first note of the chord. So if the chord is an E major chord, the root note would be the E. If it's an F major chord, the root note would be an F. So exercise number 1, we're going to follow the chord chart through, and we're literally going to play only the root note of each chord as we play through. And it's going to sound a little something like this. So once you've got exercise 1 in E, change the key to E flat, start again. And do this for every single key. You don't have to do them all in one day. Choose the keys that are the most common that you're going to use in your pieces, maybe E, A, F, G, D, C. Start out with those, and then start working on the more complicated ones. So exercise number 2, we're going to use the same track. And what we're going to do in this one is we're going to pick out the 5th of each chord. So the 5th is basically just the 5th note in that scale. So when we're in the key of E, as you can see on the chord chart, we've got 4 bars of the chord E. And the 5th of the chord E, if you go up the scale, is E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B. So the 5th of E is a B. So we're going to play a B along to that E chord. And the reason we're doing this is because the 5th note in the scale is the second strongest note of the whole thing. And once we've done this exercise, we're going to move on to combining the two to create a very simple little bass line that you can play along with this sequence. So following that E, we have 2 bars of A, and the 5th of the A major chord is an E. We're then back to the E chord, followed by 1 bar of B, which the 5th is F sharp, followed by a bar of the A, followed back to the E, and you finish. So I've told you what the 5ths are in this particular key, but when you change key, you're going to have to work this out for yourself. This is a really good exercise for your brain. Once you can access almost any note of any chord instantly without having to think, sort of, you go, oh, I'm in the chords A major, what's the 6th of A major? And you can just access that off the top of your head. That is when you will be a fantastic player and a fantastic improviser. And understanding which are the more powerful notes in a chord, especially as a bass player, you really want the strong notes. That's a really important thing to be able to know. So here's exercise number 2, the 5ths. So there you have it, exercise number 2. And once you've mastered that, go ahead and do that in all the different keys. So exercise number 3, we're just going to combine using the root note and the 5th note of each scale. So we're going to do 2 to the bar this time, and we're going to change from the root to the fifth on each chord, and it'll sound something like this. So you can play around with the rhythms of these exercises, you can play around with the order of the notes, you can also play around with which note choices you use. So for example, in the chord of E, we have a root E here, but we also have one down here. We have the fifth here, but we also have one here. And we have the same in all the other chords. So what I'll do is I'll play you now a little example of playing around with those roots and fifths in some different orders. You can download the chord charts you need for these exercises below. Just click on the link and follow it through. There's also a link for the software that I used, which is called iReal Pro. It comes with a series of exercises that you can use to practice along to. And that's what we're using in this video. So all you do is open the app, find the track called Blues Simple, and hit the play button. So you can change the key. And the idea of these exercises is to practice them in every single key until you are fully comfortable with all of the chord changes and all of the exercises that we've got in this video. So I hope you've enjoyed this week's video. Next week, we're going to expand on that and we're going to add the third and do a few more improvisation techniques over that 12-bar blues. So do work on that this week and come back next week. Subscribe to the channel. And if you've enjoyed the video, do give it a like. Also, please feel free to message me or comment below if you need clarification of anything in this video or have any particular questions or requests. Thanks for watching.